The Battle of Stalingrad. Even the name evokes images of brutal urban warfare, unimaginable suffering, and a struggle for every inch of ground. This wasn't just a battle for a city, it was a clash of ideologies, a fight for survival. For Nazi Germany, capturing Stalingrad, a major industrial center bearing Stalin's name, would have been a massive propaganda victory and a strategic triumph, potentially crippling Soviet access to vital resources. For the Soviets, it was a fight for their homeland, their very existence. The significance of Stalingrad transcended its geographical importance. It became a symbol of Soviet resistance, a line in the sand that Stalin famously declared would not be crossed. The battle would determine the fate of the Eastern Front and perhaps the entire war. It became a vortex of violence, drawing in millions of soldiers and civilians into its maelstrom. The road to Stalingrad was paved with the ambition of the Nazi war machine. After the initial successes of Operation Barbarossa, Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union, the German army looked seemingly unstoppable. But the vastness of the Russian landscape, coupled with fierce Soviet resistance, began to take its toll. The summer of 1942 saw the German Sixth Army, a formidable force under the command of General Friedrich Paulus, advance towards the Volga River and the city that bore the Soviet leader's name. The objective seized Stalingrad and cut off vital Soviet supply lines. What began as a blitzkrieg, however, was about to descend into a grueling war of attrition, a fight for every street, every building, every ruin. The Battle of Stalingrad was a clash of titans, a struggle between ideologies personified by key figures on both sides. On the German side, General Friedrich Paulus, a meticulous planner, found himself outmaneuvered and overwhelmed by the ferocity of the Soviet defense. His counterpart, General Vasily Chuikov, embodied the Soviet will to resist. Chuikov, a veteran of street fighting, understood the importance of turning every ruined building into a fortress. His orders were clear: not a step back. His soldiers, many of them inexperienced but driven by a fierce patriotism, would hold the city at any cost. On the other side, amidst the ruins of Stalingrad, the German soldiers, once confident, now faced the brutal reality of urban warfare and the unyielding spirit of their enemy. Section 4. Turning the tide, from Mamayev Kurgan to counteroffensive. The battle raged for months. Mamayev Kurgan, a strategic hill overlooking the city, became a symbol of the struggle, changing hands multiple times in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Every inch of the city was contested, turning Stalingrad into a desolate landscape of rubble and ruin. But amidst the carnage, the tide began to turn. The Soviets, bolstered by reinforcements and utilizing their knowledge of the city, slowly gained the upper hand. Then came Operation Uranus, a massive Soviet counteroffensive that encircled the German Sixth Army, trapping them within the city they had nearly captured. Paulus pleaded with Hitler for permission to break out, but the Führer refused. The German army, starved and decimated, was eventually forced to surrender in February 1943. Section 5. A city in ruins, a turning point in war. The Battle of Stalingrad ended in a decisive Soviet victory, marking a turning point in World War II. The German Sixth Army, once the pride of the Wehrmacht, was destroyed. Over 1 million soldiers and civilians lay dead, victims of the brutal fighting and the bitter cold. The victory at Stalingrad provided a much-needed morale boost for the Allies and shattered the myth of German invincibility. The tide of the war had turned. From this point onward, the German army would be on the defensive on the Eastern Front, slowly but surely being pushed back towards Berlin. Section 6. Echoes of Stalingrad, Legacy of a Brutal Victory. The Battle of Stalingrad stands as a chilling reminder of the human cost of war. The city, rebuilt from the ashes, became a symbol of Soviet resilience and a memorial to the millions who perished. The battle also had profound strategic implications. It exposed the limitations of the German army and its leadership, while highlighting the strategic depth and resolve of the Soviet Union. The victory at Stalingrad marked the beginning of the end for the Nazi regime, shifting the balance of power in the East and paving the way for the eventual Allied victory in World War II.